Allens, whether the butting heads or not, gentlemen, we can agree it's been a serious run so far by VG Gamer Reborn, and we got to give it up. Hell of a show.
I mean, we'll just talk about it now. Do they, since this is Allen, this is the person who talks the most about the Manila Major, do they deserve an invite?
I think they do, yes. I think it's going to be interesting to see how the Dota 2 team evaluates this, especially considering they won this event with the stand-in on their roster. That adds to me a little bit of a question mark to it, but if you look at the level of Dota that was played at this event, the level at which they were able to execute in this series in particular, I think this team absolutely belongs at Manila.
So many huge things for this team in particular. You're looking at the obvious fact that they did this with their stand-in, with Mikasa, who also happens to be their coach, as huge as right now. If you just look at the backstory for someone like Mikasa, he was there, he'd been playing from the get-go, was one of the original members of Vici Gaming, but was never able to get a title. This is his first time as a player being able to get a first place, and something I'm sure that he is super excited about. FY, people would look at his decision to maybe leave VG Gaming as almost maybe a bit of a mistake. He's now proved that he has the capability to get a new squad and succeed. ZYF, his second time being a part of a squad, coming internationally, getting a first place. Last time was with LV at D2CL. This is a huge, huge win for these kids.
Yeah, the two players that you mentioned, I just think are incredible stories. FY, initially when the roster announcements came out, the big Chinese shuffle, a lot of people thought that he was kicked from the main Vici Gaming squad. Reports started to come out that no, he had actually left that squad with which he'd had so much success, wanted to build his own team, handpick this roster, really emphasize his leadership and build from the ground up. And boy, that decision is just vindicated here today. And yet, or ZYF, really a guy that had been highly regarded in the Chinese scene for quite some time, just never could get that breakthrough victory. Well, here it is. They stand on stage accepting that well-earned trophy.
Man, it's just so hard, like God's talked about. It's like you throw up the coin and just like whatever it falls on, that's kind of like my MVP for those two. Like ZYF, I mean FY is there. You talked about the captain position, how important that is in this, this high level games, and it's just incredible to watch. This series. Any of the teams could have won all 4 games. That's how crazy it was. There was no outdrafts. There was nothing of the sort. It was just all came down to play today. And if we got to see this tomorrow, it could be a totally different story. But finally, we're going to get back into the highlights here, guys. This is what you all want to wait for. This is when Na'Vi make at least a good attempt to come back into this game, because their early game was, once again, it was all on, FY, just rotating around the map, killing everybody, as well as, this Juggernaut. I don't understand how Juggernaut goes so far ahead. And we talked about that matchup, Juggernaut versus Gyro. It's just a really good one for Juggernaut. You can stick on the hero, solo kill him a lot of times. I'm just waiting for this. This play is pretty nice for them, but then you see End here coming in. He has a beautiful Omni Slash. It's soaked up a lot.
Just outstanding individual plays from Dendy, though, in those last 2 fights. The screen positioning, obviously, but then in the previous fight, the blink to dodge, the waiting rift, snapping the coil, but knowing he can take that damage and survive to come out on top. And this was a good hold by Na'Vi here.
This is a good buyback from Art Style. And this is a nice, a lasso as well as a swap. So both teams just playing phenomenal right now. And then here comes the chase here. I think this is where we're going to see the play of the game for Luck Base. This has got to be the luckiest thing. Watch the Juggernaut right now. The game is over. Yeah, watch all eyes should be on Juggernaut right now. Oh, please, no, go back. And it gets Delta split up there onto the Witch Doctor. You have a 50-50 chance to either kill the Witch Doctor or the Gyrocopter. He gets the short straw there. And honestly, if Gyro goes down, he's not able to re-engage like this. And I think Juggernaut lives and potentially kills another hero.
And he survived. The other big thing about that is that Gyro not only survives that fight, he gets the triple kill, and he's able to buy the full butterfly after that fight. Yeah. I think that fight, if that Omni Slash goes onto Gyro instead of Witch Doctor, the game is pretty much over.
Yep.
What a way to have a final game, though, with 2 Rakers really being involved at some point. And one of the big key elements going for VG Gamer Reborn this one, swap insta-hex.
Oh, we need to look at General's position
swap
here. He wasn't ready for it.
Right
Whereas
on
the Lotus
yeah.
Orb, he's already dead. That's why he can't really use it.
This was
in
really
general.
questionable. So Ditya had just gone for the rapier right before this fight.
And he
actually
used
hit,
Satanic and Butterfly already.
yeah, he actually hit Flat Cannon, Satanic, and Flutter before the Aegis goes down there, and only has BKB up to use after that. And
that is devastating for them.
But it was all credit to the long swap range,
Yeah.
insta-hex lockdown. It just puts him so deep inside the base, and Navi are not able to kind of close that gap and be there.
And it's not just that, right? So we mentioned earlier in the series about how Navi had the plan to deal with the bounty hunter, or we had some scripted drafts miraculously early in the series. It was pretty clear to me in this game that VGR had a plan to deal with the general Batrider. You look at how many tools they had to deal with that initiation, the Night Stalker vision, the swap index, but also the puck going Dagon, just to add that little extra burst damage, being able to take care of the Batrider initiation. I thought they just accounted for what had been a strength of Navi so well.
Yeah, the Batrider just got shut down, as you talked